Minneapolis, and our reporter, Tim Bontemps, who was there for Harden's Sixers debut tonight. Very exciting, Tim. We heard from Joel Embiid about getting acclimated to playing with James Harden, being with James Harden. What did Doc Rivers say about how he sees them coming together?
Well, Max, Doc Rivers said that this is a 24-game sprint to the finish for the Philadelphia 76ers. That's the number of regular season games left for this team before the playoffs start. And as this team has said since they got James Harden in the trade for Ben Simmons a couple weeks ago, the championship expectations around this team are justified, and now they have to live up to them. And that's going to come down to how fast this team can gel on the court. Now, one thing I'm really curious to see what happens tonight and going forward is how Doc Rivers staggers not only James Harden and Joel Embiid, but Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey, the four primary offensive options on this team. That's something Doc has not always done a lot of in the past. It's something he has repeatedly said he's going to do a lot with this team. In particular, he wants to have at least two of those guys on the court together at all times. And starting tonight, that's the one thing I'm really going to be keyed in on, is how these rotations look, who is playing with who, and how they look on the court.
Tim, are those player intros for a youth league game behind you? Like, what is that? What that is?
That is correct.
That
awesome.
Is
correct. That is correct, Max.
And you're like a pro. You're just going right through it. How happy is the team? Like, what's the sense around the team now that the Ben Simmons drama is over?
Well, you mentioned these kids behind me, Max, and they were thrilled coming in here to play a game this afternoon at Target Center before the NBA game tonight between the Wolves and the Sixers. And the Sixers are equally thrilled to be done with this Ben Simmons story. You've got to remember, this team has been dealing with this not just since the start of the regular season, not just since the start of training camp, but since the end of last season. And when Ben Simmons didn't complete that dunk in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Atlanta Hawks, ever since that time, the dominant story around this team has not been anything that's been happening on the court. It's been what is going to happen with Ben Simmons. And now this team can finally today, after months and months and months of buildup, they can focus on what's actually going to happen on the court and what they're going to look like when they're playing basketball games together. And you can just see and feel around this team a sense of relief and excitement about what's ahead, and that they can finally turn the page and move on to what's going on the court instead of talking about Ben Simmons when he wasn't here.
And for all those who say that Daryl Morey got fleeced in the deal, he gave up too much, remember, they were talking about non-difference makers for Ben Simmons originally. He stuck to his guns, expanded the deal, got the best player clearly in the trade in James Harden, and has opened for the first time, it seems to me, a legitimate championship window at least for the Sixers. We see if they can climb through it. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.